The world needs people that are willing to sacrifice, willing to take bold steps of faith, and declare like, yep, like on this rock, like and on this corner, and the corner in East Mesa and Superior, or wherever else God would send us, like, God, we want you to build this church. And would you use us to do that?
Welcome to another episode of the One Life podcast. We are in week number 3 of our Next Level series, study through generosity, giving, all the fun stuff. And Pastor Jared, this week, Luke chapter 16. All right, this is an interesting parable. So sometimes when I'm looking for questions, I throw it into AI sometimes. Yeah. And so AI said this is the most confusing parable that Jesus ever taught. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I said that every service. This is the most perplexing.
Yeah.
You will study this or read it, and you'll be scratching your head like, what in the world is Jesus trying to communicate? And thank God for verse 9 when he says, here's the lesson. Like, use your worldly resources, your temporary resources to benefit others and to make friends. A really strange way of saying all of that to get to that point. It is very perplexing is the best word, I think.
I thought that was interesting because a lot of times AI doesn't really give you like, I guess they do, but like opinions on like, this is the most confusing. Seems like a weird thing for them to say.
You could read, so I did 5 different commentaries on Luke chapter 16, and they all have a slightly different interpretation or conclusion. Now, you can't get away from the main point because Jesus says this is the main point.
Yeah.
But the conversation around Luke chapter 16 is, why does Jesus say this? Because all of us are reading it, good Christian people, and we're like, Jesus needs to correct this guy. This is fraud.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen. And we don't really even know how the story ends. It's just, hey, good job being so shrewd. And Jesus says, and I wish the children of light would live their life in such a way where if you view life like your back is up against the wall, that you will do whatever it takes with your worldly resources to benefit others and to make friends.
Yeah. So why did you choose this one, right? 3 to 4 weeks of generosity type sermons. Why did this speak to you, and why did you choose to do a whole sermon on it?
I've never preached through Luke chapter 16, so I was kind of excited to tackle it. But the principle is there, man. Like this, like money flows in, money flows out. It shapes your heart. And obviously this guy, as in every parable we've looked at, and even Judas in week 1, like, it has a twisted relationship with money. And so that's kind of where we landed on it. And I really liked the lesson of God actually wants you to use your money to benefit others and to make friends and think about the kingdom, that it's an eternal home at the end of the day. And it's not salvation, but it's your reputation will precede you in heaven by how you use your worldly resources here. So it's a sobering thought.
Yeah.
And then it led into the last conversation of the reason why so many people don't go next level in their finances is because they are not generous people. And that's what Jesus is kind of hitting. The generosity is the antidote.
Yeah.
So
that's good. So the concept of stewardship, you brought that up too, right? So just like the God owns it, we manage it type of mentality. Why do you think that's so crucial for Christians in their spiritual growth or development?
It is foundational. You will never get to the next level financially unless you realize God is the owner. And everything you have is temporary. I think I made the joke, I'm 42. It's a humbling thought. 42 years from now, every account that I have hopefully will be in my kids' names or my wife's name, but it's not mine. Like this is just a season that I get to have it, and you can't take it with you. So, and this again, if you have that mindset, it makes it really hard to hold on to. So God's trying to pull your hands off of being like, hey, this is the right posture of your heart, is to be generous, to benefit others, and to make friends. And then I taught the tithe is like the training wheels of generosity. It builds that into your life.
Yeah.
So that's how it all comes.
So I'm going to come back to the to the tithe piece.
Sure.
The stewardship concept, I think, is a game changer, not even just in finances, but just in life, right? Like so speak to that for a minute. Even the concept, like I have 3 little kids.
Yep.
The first thing we have to teach is to get rid of the mine, right?
That's
so
right.
like from the very early age, we as humans in our sin nature, we fight this idea of everything, like not only centered around me, but it is mine. So talk about that being like the forefront of really our faith, is letting go of I can't do this on my own, or realizing who we are.
So you nailed it. I think I'm actually going to talk about this in the coming week. There's a difference, right? I believe this with all of my heart, that it's a mindset problem, not a money problem. And the mindset is, if you have a scarcity mindset, like I'm never going to have enough, then you're always going to struggle with money.
Yeah.
But if you understand that God actually wants to bless you, it's a blessing mindset, the money to flow in and to flow out. So he actually wants to bless you with more, not that you can just be rich. That's the theology, prosperity gospel that I 100% reject. No, but I do believe that God wants to bless you with more. Why? So you can bless other people. So the scarcity mindset is like, I got to keep everything here. I'm not going to ever have enough. And here's it's very sad. A lot of families, a lot of individuals, a lot of businesses have that mindset, and even a lot of churches have that mindset. We got to keep it all for us.
Yep.
And I fundamentally push back. I'm like, no, when you actually learn that God funnels your resources, but not to keep it, but to bless other people, to impact this community, man, that's where you see God show up.
Yeah.
And I would say this, and I think I said it at almost every service. The promise of Malachi chapter 3, or even 2 Corinthians, is not that God's going to bless you financially. That's actually not the promise. It's that he's going to open up the windows of heaven, and that can show up in so many different ways. And when you live your life, the flow in, the flow out, I mean, that's when you see God work. That's when you see his blessing. That's when you see his provision, and in ways that you wouldn't because of your mindset, because you're like this and you're not even looking to see what God's doing. But when you live, like your eyes are wide open, then you get to see God moving and working in people's lives. And it's because of your generosity, the mindset, the mentality of how you live your life with not your money, with the money and resources that God entrusts to you.
Yeah.
Which goes back to a stewardship issue. Yeah. So I view the church, right? Like I might be and I said this at Growth Track this weekend. I'm the pastor, but here's what's true about this. One day, somebody else will have the microphone in their hand standing on that stage. I am interim. This is a season. And I take that very, very seriously, that while I'm the pastor at One Life Church, I want to steward this place so well. I want the blessings of God to flow in and the blessings of God to flow out. So I'm trying to lead our church in that way. Amanda and I, we view that same thing with how we live our life. And if I can convince, and that's not even me, that's the Holy Spirit can get a hold of people's heart and live their life and position their life in that way. Oh man, that's when you get to the next level.
Yeah.
That's when you're seeing things and witnessing the move of God in your life like never before.
That's good.
Yep.
All right, so I have a church leadership question for you, right? Let's say there's a church planner or somebody that is a lead pastor, wants to be a lead pastor. Talk about the tension you face within the organization of, like, we do the 10-10-80 principle, right? But then how do you be generous as a church, that tension versus everything that comes in, like, let's just give it, versus there are some churches, like you mentioned, that have ginormous emergency funds. They would be good for 6 years if the church did a ginormous decline.
That's right.
Right. So, like, talk about the tension of leading an organization while building still a good type of savings that's a smart savings, while also not just hoarding onto that, but actually moving the ball forward for the gospel.
So everything is percentage based for me. So non-negotiable, 10-10-80 is how we run the church. So every dollar that comes in, 10% into a giving account that goes out our doors. That funds missions, that funds the porch, scholarships for camp, benevolence, everything that we don't keep it for ourselves. It goes out our doors. We give it away, at least 10%. One of the things that I'll share this week with our church is I think this year we're closer to like 14, 15%. I could be wrong on that. I'll get the numbers this week that we've given away.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing, right? I'm so proud of that. And then we save 10% and we live on the rest. So the 10% that we save doesn't mean that we're just keep stockpiling it. It's like when needs come. So Superior, that opportunity came available, and we used a chunk of savings to retrofit that campus to get it up and running. So that's what the savings is there for. We are a movement for all people, not an institution. Mm-hmm. The moment you begin to treat the church as an institution, meaning we have to protect it, we need to make sure we have all the savings, you lose. So my goal is, we need to leverage all the resources that God gives us wisely so we can go reach more people for Jesus. So we're not risk adverse and we're not risk addicted. We like to live in the sweet spot of, because so then to answer your second question with that is what's wise. Most churches larger than us would tell you to have 8 weeks to 3 months of cash reserve in the bank. And that's where we always try to live. Like we don't dip it below. Even if opportunities come, like, well, we're just not there yet. We'll keep on saving.
Yeah.
So we can say yes to these different opportunities.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean sometimes, like, we've had like, and this is where you want to be wise, but you also want to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit, like a rhema word almost. We're like, man, we need to move on this opportunity. And it might stretch us a little bit, but if all the elders, our board of directors are in agreement, we'll say yes to what we believe God is putting in front of us.
Yeah.
But we live with lots of margin. So when I make a joke, I'm not standing on the stage saying I need this weekend's offering to pay the bills. We since I've been the pastor here, we've never lived that way. We don't even take up an offering, right? This is boxes in the back, online, in the app. I just want to take the guilt and shame off of people.
Yeah.
And then my job as the pastor is just to, hey, here's vision. Here's what we're chasing. And we will accomplish the vision at the speed of your generosity and the speed of people coming to our church. So we're not going to outpunt our coverage. We're going to live within really good percentages. So here's what's amazing. If we continue just to give away 10 to 15%, and our budget this year will probably be closer to $3.5–4 million into 2026, like our percentage has stayed around 10 to 15%, but because our budget is growing, the amount of money that we're sending out our doors is at an all-time record high, which I'm very proud of positioning our church in that way. So my encouragement to every church planner or pastor that's starting out and you have way more vision than resources, and I would say this to every family, like generosity does not happen because you just like, one day we'll be generous. No, you start at the very beginning. I'm going to share this stat, and this is in America, that people who make more money are less generous. People who have less worldly resources, on average, are more generous than people that make more money.
Wow.
And it's the same thing with churches we've seen, is the more people, the larger the budget, if you're not like day one, 10-10-80, this is what we do, the tension or the temptation is look at all of the needs that we have. We need more staff. We need a bigger building. The temptation is just to use it all for yourself. And I fundamentally believe the principle, again, it's not a law, the principle of the tithe, that's where God blesses you. And we live our life that way. And so when I became the pastor 8 years ago, so we're going to lead the church this way. And one of the ways or reasons I firmly believe this, why God is blessing One Life Church, is because we're faithful to this principle and we don't keep it all. We send it out our doors.
So talk a little bit more about the tithe. Give us first the reason. You mentioned it in the sermon that it was established before the law, right? So that's kind of the answer to isn't tithe just a Old Testament thing, right? But speak to that a little bit, and the tension even maybe as a pastor with why. Are there pastors that would disagree with that? Are there pastors that teach differently on that? What's the universal Christian tension or drama around the tithe or giving?
Every pastor that I know says, let's be generous. But then that is such a subjective thing to say. Because what does that mean? So, like generous for you is different for me, right? So which is why I think the brilliance of the tithe, and I mentioned this, I put a lot of thought into it. Like why 10%? Because it's not going to ruin you financially, and it's forcing you to budget and plan. And if you don't, you're never going to do it. So I believe the tithe, this is where I would teach and land, it's the starting place of generosity. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to hear that and be like, there's no way. I look at my budget. I'm like, okay, just put God to the test and try it. It's a step of faith. Like that's always my pushback. Well, you don't know that until you try it. And then they talk themselves out of it. Or then my answer is, then just start with something. Start with some percentage. Maybe it's 2%. Maybe it's 3%. And then work and build your life so where you can get that 10%. Because that, again, it's a principle, not a law. So if you're not tithing, are you sinning? I don't believe you are. I believe that you're missing out on all God's best for your life. That's where I land.
Yeah.
You're never going to get next level until you learn to put God first in your finances.
Yeah.
And he created the tithe before the law was given. So I don't understand people. This is Old Testament law. No, it's not. It's a principle before. And I think even in the New Testament, the word tithe is never mentioned, but the word like generous givers, like exceeding in this area. So if the principle, and Paul definitely would have known this in Old Testament, was at least the tithe, and now he's talking to the new church of like, you're exceeding it, like you're blowing us away. My interpretation, most conservative scholars would say they're giving way more than 10%. They position themselves in that way. So I say, I think the tithe, and now some pastors would say you're sinning if you're not tithing. I don't believe that. I just believe that you're missing out on God's best, because it's never to be treated in the New Testament legalistic. But where I land is it's the training wheels.
Yeah.
This is the place to start.
Which is a game changer, because I think even a lot of Christians that have been Christians for a really long time, like when you put it in that perspective, and for 40 years they've tithed faithfully, which is great, but that also means that they potentially have been in training wheels for 40 years, right?
Well, so that's bingo. That's my next point. So where Amanda and I, like if you're tithing today, but you were tithing 20 years ago and you're growing in your faith, well, you should be growing in the area of generosity as well. Right? So Amanda and I sit down every year and we kind of have our budget and we plan out like, okay, what are we going to do? Maybe this year we're going to increase it 1%. And again, I like to live in percentages, or maybe it's 0.5, or maybe we're going to go into some strategic initiatives for the church that's going to stretch us financially, because we want to, yes, build a building or remodel things or get land for East Mesa, all the things we're going to talk about in the next few months. Like, so we're having conversations now. What does the next couple of years look like for us to grow, to be stretched in this area of our finance? So
real quick, just a random thought. I have some people that I'm close with that would say recurring giving, not real giving. And here's why. They're like, because you didn't actually see it, and it's out of sight, out of mind, so you didn't actually give it. I just am curious. Speak your thoughts on that.
I mean, I disagree with that. Like, I think it's automatic.
Yeah.
It's so put this in the show notes. Let's talk about something different here. It's called it's a book called The Automatic Millionaire. And it's not the get rich quick scheme. It's teaching the principle of, if you just every single week you give, or you invest into your 401k or 403b, whatever it is, just automatically.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
That's how you become a millionaire 25 years from now. So Amanda and I, every Monday, automatically, we tithe to the church. We don't even see it. Like, it's just, but it's in my bank account.
Right.
But the issue is like, no, it's an act of worship. By clicking send, right, or enter online as an act of worship. And I'm like, no, it's an issue. Again, don't be legalistic about it.
Right.
It's an issue of the heart. So and I'll talk about this weekend. Paul commends the church by saying that you decided in advance what to give. It's premeditated.
Yeah.
So I don't have to think about it. The posture of my heart is generosity. Now, from time to time, so we're going to have a Make a Difference offering the end of the year, which are one offering that we give over and above our normal tithes and offerings. We ask the church to do that, which funds outreach and missions for the next year. That's a special offering. So we'll pray about it, and we'll go online, and we'll give a gift. I would push back on the old school idea of like, yes, that is worship, but every single Monday when we give a gift, it comes out of our bank account right to the church. Like that's worship too.
Yeah.
So don't just fight. I'm trying to help people. Don't be legalistic. What God wants is your heart. When he talks to you, say yes. And then if you're a Christian for a long period of time, you should be growing in this area of generosity. It shouldn't just, well, it's my tithe. Then I think that becomes legalistic too.
Yeah.
Right? Or
that's good.
A badge of honor.
There were several times when I first got a job and I was like practicing to tithe, all that kind of stuff. There were several weeks I just forgot.
Yeah.
Like it was not a moment of like, sorry, God, you don't get this money right now. It's like, oh, dang it. It's been like a month and a half.
Yeah.
And so, dude, automated giving was a game changer for me.
For sure.
I'm like, I feel more spiritual because I'm more disciplined, it's just great.
What it does.
Yeah.
Tithing does this. And I said this. If it's just part of it, builds the discipline of generosity into your life.
Yeah.
So any way that we can create opportunities for people to make it easier, like, why would we not? That's why this weekend in every worship guide, we had that here. Here's ways to automate your giving. Just premeditate, predetermine. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
And it's the best way to live. I would say this way. It's the best first way
right.
To live a generous life.
Juliet always says, we don't really think about it, but we do feel it.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say this in every service, but it's almost like, you look at your bank account and you think, where did all of it go?
Yeah.
If you don't predetermine like giving, even like building wealth 10-10-80, there is always more month than money. There's always going to be that unexpected expense. Circumstances will talk you out of it. So just make it a normal part. You don't have to think about it. It's just part of who you are.
Yeah.
Gianna, even like she was at East Campus, and I think she was in the first service or whatever. And she comes home yesterday, and she has a giving envelope that she grabbed because all the baby's sitting, and she just has a bunch of cash. And I'm like, what are you doing with that? She's like, Dad, I feel really guilty. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, from your sermon, I don't think I've tithed in like 3 months. I'm like, oh, the goal was not to make you feel guilty. The goal is like, hey, like put the principle in place. Yeah. And so she's in her room, like counting out 20s, and people, I mean, she has more cash than I have. I mean, it's insane. And she's like, right, this is what I gotta give. So next week she gets to bring it to the church, and she's all.
I was gonna say, make sure she gives to East. That's what I was gonna.
Just so people know, like it all goes to the same place. Let's make sure we're not.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not in competition with campuses.
No, we're not. I promise.
Spoken like a true campus pastor.
That's funny.
I love it.
All right, my last question. You said a fearful world needs a fearless church. What does that look like practically for us, and as we gear up for 2026?
I'm part of the conversation is this next weekend. I'm glad you picked up on that. If we're going to be the church that God's calling us to be, we cannot have a scarcity mindset. Like, we are going to get after some big things. And so I'm just going to lay my cards out for the next couple of months. Like, I believe God's calling, like, we're at a pivotal moment. We're seeing tons of first-time guests. Our attendance is unlike we've never seen before. Even our generosity is. Yeah. But I believe we're at this critical moment in the life of our church where either we're going to be like, well, this is good enough, and kind of just be rocked to sleep. Or we're like, no, God has brought us to this moment. Our long history as a church brought us to this moment to say, now, God, now what's next? Like, we're here and right now, what are you calling us to do? Yeah. And so I'm going to lead our church to that. Like, here's some big vision. And the vision is going to require a lot of sacrifice. But I believe God's calling us to do this so we can step into the next 20 years. And I believe what God's done has just been laying the groundwork for where he wants to take us. And it's going to require massive steps of faith and boldness, fear, almost like fearlessness a little bit of walking in. And I think that's what the world needs, man. The world needs people that are willing to sacrifice, willing to take bold steps of faith and declare like, yep, like on this rock, like and on this corner and the corner in East Mesa and Superior or wherever else God would send us, like, God, we want you to build this church. And would you use us to do that.
That's good.
So that's where I'm leading. I'll give a little bit of vision this weekend for that, just as we end the year. But then just going to tell people, hey, I don't want to surprise you. Like, start thinking, start dreaming, start praying. God, what would you have us do?
Yeah.
To take some bold steps of faith.
It's good. All right.
Yeah.
We are 9 days away.
Come on.
From our first At the Movies. And I just
so
think it's
good.
cool. Just a quick plug for the Thursday night service here at Mesa. Like, movies at night are cool.
Yes.
Like, and to be honest, like 10 a.m. Mesa campus, unless you're bringing somebody,
you can't come.
you can't come.
I told
roll
our
up to a different
11:30. We had a larger than normal 11:30. Now we're only 5-6 weeks into the 11:30 service, so
Yeah.
I don't really know where it all percentage-wise it all lays out.
Mm-hmm.
But we had I would say better than the last several weeks, and it was fall break, so maybe I'm off. Just a really good 11:30 service. Now we had growth track after, which I think helped 40 people probably roll off. However, I look at the 11:30 service after the message, and I said, "Here's the deal, guys. You have to stay at the 11:30 service. You cannot come to the 10. And honestly, our numbers on Sunday, you really can't come to the 8:30 either.
Yeah, that's true.
I need you to stay at the 11:30 unless you're bringing a friend and they can only go to the earlier services. Or better yet, come to Thursday night." And then I make the joke, it's my favorite service of the weekend, and it kind of is.
Yeah.
The 11:30 is great too. I feel no pressure, man. I can preach as long as I want to. There's no service coming after me. So,
Yeah.
but the 8:30 and the 10, those are the prime time spots. We recognize that.
Yeah.
More guests come to the 10 o'clock service and any other service throughout the weekend. So I'm going to beg our people this weekend, hey, please come Thursday night or 11:30 unless you have a guest.
I think our church people are so nosy that they're going to come 3 days earlier. To know what the movie is on a Thursday.
So they can invite their friends. Yeah. And so I'm not going to say, I'm almost going to say it. The first weekend, we always kind of start with like, you know, how the youngins say, like a banger.
Yeah.
This is.
I literally said that yesterday.
You did.
I said to the serve team rally on Sunday. I said, "Hey, week one's a banger." Just so you guys know.
So we're
thanks for
speaking
making
the same language. It's amazing. I watched it in the room with our team last week, and I'm just I'm really proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of all of them. They're all going to be amazing, but you definitely don't want to miss week number 1. And I'm there, man. And I recorded it. I went through the whole process, and I'm still getting teary-eyed, like watching it in the room. So it's great.
Bring your popcorn and your tissues.
And I think every week you're going to want to bring tissues.
Okay.
I think, and here, listen,
I don't know if we advertise it that way.
No, for sure. But that's the power of movies, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I will say this because I make the riff on, this is our version of parables.
Mm-hmm.
Not Luke 16. I don't think and it'd be like, what in the world? We're head scratching. No, all of them are very clear. Salvation focus. It's going to be an amazing 5 weeks. Can't wait.
Good deal.
Yeah, man.
Remember, the church is not a building we sit in. It's a movement we get to be a part of to reach one more life for Jesus.